Thanks. Welcome. It's a full house. It's nice to see your faces. I'd like to call this Board of Education meeting to order. It is Monday, May 19th, 2025, and it is 5:30 p.m.
Huntington.
Here.
King.
Here.
McKee.
Here.
North.
Here.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second. Huntington.
Yes?
King.
Yes.
McHugh. Yes. North.
Yes. I'd like to start with our Board of Education updates. Kelly?
Man, I don't have a lot to report, I don't think, from our last meeting. We have been working hard on a lot of different fronts, whether that is superintendent screening, salary negotiations with our educators, prepping for the end of school, and doing all that is associated with that. So that is what has occupied my time for the last month. So short today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have a whole lot either. Just Jessica and I met to come up with answers to the DAP questions from their presentation, which we were going to present last week, which got moved to tomorrow, and neither of us can attend. So Hunter is going to, he has our presentation. We spoke, answered questions, and he's going to present it to DAP for us.
Thanks.
So I attended 2 chat committee meetings since I've been here, and that's the Community Crisis Health Assistance team. I'm on the review committee, and so we review the data and how many calls they went out for, and they're finally getting the data out there to the point that it's on the website now. You can see how many suicide calls, how many interventions they did, and how many students they helped, which I thought was kind of an interesting aspect that they're including in the data. What I also found interesting is that there's very little of the student response, which we found would be great as well. Let's see, I also attended the 10-year Penn ceremony at TCS with Jessica and Lori and Kristen, which was pretty great. I attended the safety meeting the other day. We should be seeing our emergency operations procedures books coming our way. I expect that we'll be approving that, Tom, maybe in August, after you're gone. It's ready to go. So maybe if we could get that sent out to us so we have 3 months to look at it. It's a big book. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh, at the safety meeting, we had, Aaron had brought in an active shooter app guy who presented, you know, the app that facilitates an active shooter situation. It's free to the LE to use, but it does cost the schools to use it. And I think we calculated, Aaron, that was coming in around $10,000 or $11,000 for the school. So that may be something that Aaron ends up considering or bringing forth, or just next superintendent approving. And I think that it was overall very well received. And it's probably something worthwhile to look at. I went to the skateboard park benefit. I saw you there too. I did win the snowboard, sorry guys. I attended the presentation with Aaron and Tom, the pre-presentation with Verigy. Guys, I guess that was it.
This last month, I was able to celebrate some of our students at the Mayor and Commissioners Awards. So some really amazing students who have overcome hardships to just celebrate their lives and their futures. So that was wonderful. I was able to attend the pinning ceremonies for all of our educators at every school but King Murphy, and I apologize for that because there was a little bit of a weather conflict. But again, I see so many faces here. Thank you so much for all of your service. And also attended the skate park gala, and I also did the gala for the Historical Society. So lots of amazing things going on in the community. So, Tom.
Go to superintendent updates here, just a few things here, I'll kind of run through these. The BEST grant, Aaron and I set in on a question meeting, I guess it was, on someday last week, Thursday last week, something like that. Our application that was submitted in January has been moved to the short list. Not sure what that means, but we're looking for some funds for the King Murphy roof, about $256,000 worth. We're going to do it regardless out of bond funds, but that would save some of our bond funds in that way. Painting and roof updates, just talk about the roof at this building and King Murphy will start on June 2nd. The painting at Georgetown will start roughly on June 2nd as well. Those dates are probably within a few days later than that too, just so you know, but it's hopefully around June 2nd. Actually, I'm gonna move on to, I had something on the slide here, we had digger days in this building, duster days in this building. Typed it in wrong, hey, duster days in this building on last week, so that went well, getting all the incoming 7th graders into this building. We have elementary field day coming up on Tuesday, right after Memorial Day, so that'll be an exciting day for all the elementary kids. We had a new track record. Ocean Kaplan Holdreffer broke a 32-year-old record that way, which is outstanding. The record he broke was from Chris Jackin 32 years ago, so that's positive there. We had several other individuals at the state meet. Noah Clark in the 100-meter dash. The boys 4x200 had Merrill Harvey, Wyatt Huff, Terry McCown, and Noah Clark. Boys 4x8 had Zephyr Schussler, Terry McCowan, Wyatt Huff, and Ocean on that as well. And then Noah was also on the 200 meters there as well. And then next slide there, possibly. I guess I have one other thing in. Actually, let's go to the positives about Clear Creek School District. Just some different things here. I was talking to Tom Harvey, who will be here later on. I don't think he's here yet, talking about the enrollment task force committee again, following up from the last couple of meetings he's been at. I think he's becoming a regular here. But what are some positive things about the Clear Creek School District? And those are just some things that we've talked about as board members at one time at a board, talked about as directors and principals, we've brought up other times that way. Those are some positive things. I'm not going to read all those off, but just a variety of things there. And Tom wanted some of those just to look at. And then, do I have another slide there? Yeah, I did one more slide. And then the other slide is and it's hard to see on the board there, obviously. If anybody wants a copy of that, I'd be happy to give that to them. It's enrollment of small rural districts. Those are the blue ones. And then the rural districts small rural districts are considered less than 1,000 students. Those are the blue. And then the gray are rural districts, K-12 enrollment, 1,000 to 6,500 students. And then the white ones are the larger districts with 6,500 or more students. So just kind of see where things are at. It's an interesting map. I've seen it before. I think Tom shared it in the past as well. He may share it with me. But anyway, the map is out there on the CDE site to be aware of. So that's what I have.
I'm going to reclaim my time for just a moment because I was sure. The thing that has filled the most of our time in the last few weeks has been our search for our new superintendent. I wanted to just share with you that we did name 4 candidates. Andy Burns is the Executive Director of Student Support Services at Pueblo School District. Brian Childress is currently the Director of Safety, Assessment, and Enrollment at Weld RE1. Wes Paxton is the Community Superintendent at Jeffco Public Schools. And Shelley Swain is the Superintendent of Springfield School District RE4. Each of these candidates brings a unique blend of leadership experience and shared commitment to fostering student achievement, staff excellence, and a strong community engagement. So we are very, very excited about the candidates, the slate that we had in front of us. I want to invite the entire community on June 5th. We'll be at Carlson Elementary from 5 to 7. I think we're going to be in the library, but it will depend on how many people we have because their library is a little smaller, I think, than this. So I don't know. But that will be a community opportunity for everyone to meet, speak with, engage with, ask questions, and then we will be collecting feedback from everyone. We will have a QR code. We have 6 attributes that we will be asking you to evaluate. consider things like leadership, whether you think that they're going to fit well with our community, their ability to cover, to deal with asset management, think HR and facilities, but also financial acumen, specifically around Colorado school finance, because we all recognize that that is very complex. And then longevity, because we are looking for someone who's going to stay with us. So I do hope that you will pass that word out to the community, because we are just 5. This is an individual that is going to be working for all of us. So I thank you very, very much for engaging in that process. Then on the 6th, that is, folks have already kind of reached out to me to be stakeholders on the 6th. So I think I've got that slate covered, but if only the 6th will work for you, please reach out to me, jessica.north@ccsdre1.org, and I will respond to you as quickly as I can, although I did not respond to you very quickly, but I had a email earlier today, maybe once a week, sorry. Yeah, behind you, sorry. Like what? But again, we are volunteers, so we really do take this very, very seriously. We are doing the very best that we can to engage everyone and respond in a timely manner. But yeah, again, have a little patience with us as well. Now we can move on to recognitions. Yeah. Because I don't see here.
Yeah, so with recognition, we've done recognition for a variety amount of years, 20, 15, 10, and now 5 years or more. And I was going to name those off, and Jessica will shake their hand if they're here. But first of all, we're going to talk with Kate Murphy.
It pretty much covers most of the educators in this room. And then parents who have engaged for more than everybody here is part of this community and doing great work. So thank you for all that you do, showing up and providing feedback.
So,
Your colors. Yes, that's the other thing I didn't get to respond to quickly today. But,
so let's start off with King Murphy people. The first one on the list here is Alicia Needham, second grade teacher, and has 8 years. Thank you. Erin Pate, custodian, also with 8 years. Deborah Davis, secretary at King Murphy, 7 years. And we have this winner, Lisa Cassidy, teacher for 7 years at Murphy. Vicki Graham, 5 years. Lacey Lee, paraprofessional at King Murphy, 5 years. Alan Martin, music teachers at King Murphy and Carlson both, so we'll Rachel Richardson, third grade teachers at King Murphy. Beth Muggleton, paraprofessional at King Murphy. Carlson, and I know this person here, contact said he couldn't be here. Michael DiNardo, fourth grade teacher at Carlson, 6 years. And then Mary Lehner, special ed paraprofessional at Carlson, not there. Georgetown, Heather Cooper, finance office administrator. Tiffany Taylor, second grade teacher. Olivia Register, creative arts at Georgetown. And moving on to the middle school, high school, and the elementary, Siri Lewis has worked in both buildings this year. She's not able to be here. Gunnar Harmon is here, paraprofessional at the middle school, high school, 7 years. Stacey Bruno, bookkeeper, 7 years. Melissa English, life sciences teacher, 5 Ben Mahoney, social studies teacher for 5 years.
I already shook his hand today.
Joel Berry, ELA teacher. Walter Cordova, Spanish teacher. Kayla Craigo, instrumental music teacher. Dr. McClure, math teacher, 5 years. And Melanie Leatherwood, paraprofessional. And then I don't know if we have anybody from transportation and maintenance here, but I recognized them earlier also. Rick Stearns, bus driver, 8 years. Bus driver for 7 years. Dakota Lentz, maintenance for 6 years. And Bryce Felbon, bus driver for 6 years.
There are a couple of people that I know that I missed when I was in Wilbur, so thanks. Like, you got your own handshake with Paul. But again, thank you for all of your years of service. It's overwhelming to see you all here tonight. So.
Good.
All right, I'd love to move on to our committee updates. I know we've got some representatives here from CCCEA. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yes.
Should I stand? It's okay. All right. Thank you for letting me address you, Clear Creek Board of Education. Over the course of spring negotiations and recent mediation, the Education Association has made significant good faith compromises in the interest of moving our district forward. In contrast, we have witnessed minimal reciprocal effort or compromise from the board. After meeting for over 24 hours across 4 days, and while the district spent an untold sum on outside legal counsel and a financial consultant, the proposal now being presented to our members is deeply disappointing, which is a 1% cost of living adjustment for all certified and classified employees, salary lane advances, and the option for staff with 10 or more years of service and 30 days of saved PTO to cash out 5 days per year at 50% per diem. Let's be clear. This proposal includes no step movement, and the COLA doesn't even meet the 2.3% state inflation rate. In fact, once adjusted for the 2 additional workdays recently added to our work calendar for the upcoming year, this COLA effectively amounts to a pay cut. For educators already struggling to maintain a living wage, this offer falls far short of recognizing the value we bring to this district every day. The board's continued silence, despite overwhelming community support for our educators, paired with its unanimous decision to freeze steps and preserve excess reserve funds, reflects a troubling misalignment of priorities. While millions were committed to a state-of-the-art bus barn, we contend with declining enrollment, an aging and incomplete fleet, and a shortage of drivers. A strong district cannot be built on infrastructure alone, especially when it comes at the direct expense of the people who sustain our schools. Educators should not be asked to bear the cost of the district's overspending on capital projects. There is currently around $1 million above the district's own stated reserve threshold of about 4.7 million. If this is not the time to invest in the workforce, when students desperately need stability and educators are grappling with basic economic survival, then when is it time? Enough is enough. Clear Creek is an incredible place to live. It's time to make it a place where students can thrive because their educators can afford to stay. We call on the board to make teacher and staff retention, not excessive spending, the priority. Our students deserve a stable, thriving, learning environment, and that begins with investing in the people who make education possible. We urge all of you who care about education to stand with us and demand responsible financial stewardship, transparency, and a genuine commitment to the educators and staff who serve our community every day. Thank you.
I don't believe we have a representative from the DAC this evening.
I can say that we haven't met since last time because of weather and we're meeting tomorrow, I believe it is.
Yes.
You and Marcy will be.
See, Marcy isn't available, but I'm hoping to be there with you, so.
Okay.
How about any of the PTOs or PTAs? Okay. How about Booster Club in high school? All right. I would love to bring forward Verigy. Ashley, thank you. Ashley from Verigy.
Just love it.
Yeah, your name is Verigy, right?
Ashley from Verigy.
Wherever you want to be, you can be up here. I've seen the presentation if you want to present from there or from there, whichever you'd like. You
Okay.
speak very well, Al, so.
Okay.
So, as you're deciding, we had Ashley come back again, just to review some things that we have talked about in past meetings, including last week, that way, just to give an overview on energy savings and things like that. So just to give an overview once again.
Great. Well, thank you, members of the board and Dr. Meyer. I appreciate your time and inviting me back today. So I am here, yes, to give, I guess, a brief overview of some information that you might already have been updated on. And I put together a few slides. I can go through them pretty quickly, and then of course would love to entertain any sort of questions that you might have in moving forward. So just wanted to briefly update the group again on what energy performance contracting is. Also, the analysis that we have already conducted within the district, I'd like to share results with you on what the energy baseline and key performance indicators are for Clear Creek School District. What can we do about those? And then also potential summaries of the savings that are possible with the work that we do at Verigy. And then what a possible path forward might look like. Does that sound
Perfect.
good with everything? Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So Verigy, if you remember back from an earlier presentation, we are in I feel like there might be some timings on these that,
Yeah.
sorry, if we could take those off, that would be awesome, but, okay, thank you so much. But just while he's doing that, Verigy is an energy savings company. We mostly work with the K-12 market, and we help to identify
all of the equipment and energy consuming and water consuming infrastructure within your school systems, and see if there's any potential for ways to save on energy and water through utility savings, and have essentially leverage those utility savings to pay for upgrades instead of having to find new money like capital dollars, bond dollars, what have you. So, did you figure that one out? No? Okay. That's okay, and I can keep going back and forth if that's just gonna be easier. Okay, so essentially we're looking at all of the different systems that are involved within a building. And do you mind if I do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I apologize.
No
It's
problem.
just gonna be super annoying. Is it on this one?
Mhm.
My apologies. This is a Mac, isn't it?
No.
Oh, is this not a Mac?
No.
Just move slide view too.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll try that. Okay, my apologies. Yeah, so what essentially the model would do for the district is we'd look at all of the different components that are using and abusing energy and water. Most times those are components that are deferred maintenance items that already need time and attention and upgrading. And then we would essentially like to leverage, and this is what's shown here on this slide, we'd like to leverage the savings of that, those identified measures. And we would like to essentially bring them up front to a project. So it would fund the project over time. Okay, so that's essentially the model. The great thing about energy savings is that you're already paying your utilities. You already have a utility budget that you have budgeted for year over year, likely with some escalation intact in there. And so essentially what we're doing is we are taking the delta between what you are already paying and what you would be paying post-project, and that delta is used to pay for the project, typically within a debt service type of option. And of course, then we use supplemental funding like grants, rebates, incentives as well. And so the whole project is meant to be budget neutral. You're not having to go into your capital spending bucket of money at all. And then you are getting all of the wonderful upgrades that are definitely needed to keep the buildings warm, to keep the lights on, to keep them safe and healthy for students and staff to conduct their daily work. Okay, did we figure that out? No. Okay, interesting. Well, we're also fine to maybe just show it in this view if you'd like.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I don't know if the clicker would then.
Give it a try.
Oh, give the clicker a try?
Yep.
Oh, yes, it does. Okay, perfect. And so this is an infographic that just shows basically what I was talking about. Over on the left, you have before an energy performance contract savings, your budget is X, and then we identify those savings. A lot of times those savings are also approved for grant matches. So that's also something that we leverage when we look for grants and write those grants for you. And then the savings that you are realizing from the project goes to pay for the project over time. Okay, and then anything after the term of the project is just savings realized and back into your general fund budget. So Verigy did conduct a preliminary energy analysis for you. We took the usage of all of your buildings and we benchmarked those with electricity, water, and natural gas. And really, the whole point of this is to figure out, to create a baseline. Where are you currently? And is there potential for you to save and then have some sort of project that would be self-funding to upgrade that aging infrastructure and tackle deferred maintenance like the maintenance team is battling in some of your buildings currently? And so what we found is that the district-wide electric usage has a very high baseline load. And typically we like to see a nice bell curve there where you're using less energy in the summertime and you have a small bell curve there, but generally a high baseline load, which is pretty much significantly due just to this building, the high school, middle school. Your district-wide gas usage looks very typical and normal, but of course there's always ways to optimize there. And then water is also looking fairly typical. You did have an event back in April that we identified a large leak which happened, and so the data is reflecting that. And it was fixed and now you're back to your normal, okay?
That was a year ago.
That was a year ago, yes. So it just goes to show though that the data does reflect what's happening in real time and it does equate to real dollars, right? So costly leaks, things of that nature are things that, can be prevented if you're keeping up with all that deferred maintenance that you're trying to constantly tackle. Oh, interesting, I just skipped 7. Well, we're having all kinds of troubles today. And this is just looking at some of the data, but they're school specific. So again, it's reflecting that the Clear Creek High School, Middle School is at a very high electrical usage baseline. And a lot of that is probably due to aging HVAC equipment, lighting, LED lighting still needs to be done, control strategies that the maintenance team would love to have updated, upgraded here. And also you have wonderful daylighting capabilities in this building as well. So we'd love to implement maybe some strategies where lighting doesn't necessarily have to be on if you have a wonderful, well-lit area already through sunshine, right? So definitely, you're not alone. A lot of school districts have, different types of struggles and they're always constantly fighting deferred maintenance. We like to also take that data though and explain it in a few different ways. So again, it skipped over 8. There we go. So we like to put all of that data, and this is not reflective of Georgetown Community School. We did not get the data in time to do that analysis on that school. And then this does have your water or your wastewater treatment plant right down the hill, and it does have your firehouse pump on it. And so when we look at all the data and we look at where you might be a little high, obviously Clear Creek School, Middle School, High School stands out on your electricity usage. And so that's a little high. And then if we go to the next, nope, it's still.
Boy.
I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna ask you. Okay, thank you so much. Awesome. And so if we reorganize this data in some different ways, just helping us to see your energy usage intensity, so basically benchmarking your buildings against other buildings that are in the same area and are the same square footage, you are a little high in some areas and so that you do have potential for some savings and a project here. Also with your key performance indicators, we like to reorganize the data so that you're seeing, what's your spend per square footage? What's your spend per student? What's your spend, what's your square footage per student, right? And so a lot of that data helps you understand how you can utilize your buildings differently, especially in a declining enrollment situation. Maybe you might shut down a few classrooms, right, to save on some of those energy spends. So data can be very, very helpful in making some important decisions moving forward, right? And that's what we want to provide you with first and foremost is what stories are the data saying? Next slide. So your emerging stories, just from the preliminary analysis is that, Clear Creek High School Middle School is a major utility user. There's definitely a lot of opportunities here to optimize and save money. Your classroom lighting is by not having it all LED, it is affecting the overall energy usage, and it is allowing for a higher baseline than we'd like to see. Again, there's no bell curve really in that middle school, high school usage scenario, and then aging HVAC equipment, especially here and at King Murphy, is causing for some high energy usage as well. So what can we do? Well, really what we're kind of proposing is a process, right? Gathering up all the data and looking at everything in a very systematic way so that we can make the right decisions and possibly have a project at the end that is self-funding so that it can alleviate some of that stress off your general fund dollars and that it can also alleviate stress off of future bond planning, all right? And so our process is really creative. We do a lot of interactions between all across departments because we find that a lot of times in just solving some, problems with buildings and maintenance, it actually also solves problems in finance and it solves problems in education. And so we like to get everybody together and we like to figure out what those big, hairy, audacious goals are that everyone has. And we like to kind of break down those silos and start working from there. So it's a lot of learning about the district, if you'd like to move forward. And then we figure out, okay, those big, hairy, audacious goals, what does that look like moving forward into a process like what we call an investment grade audit? And so we'd be doing a lot of learning about your operations, what your maintenance teams are struggling with, what they need to, what they need to be successful, what deferred maintenance they're trying to tackle. How do we save as much money for the district in order to reinvest that back into the buildings, right? And make that a budget neutral approach. And then we'd also be doing a lot of solution education, so just educating all of the stakeholders on what the different options are. We'd be going through the Colorado Energy Office program because we are a pre-qualified company with the Colorado Energy Office. And at those milestone meetings that they already have, we would be assessing, hey, what have we uncovered? What is, good goals that we want to keep moving forward with and keep engineering and push design to a finalized project, and what would that look like? So it really is a process in order to get there. I know that solar has been mentioned in the past, and so solar would absolutely be one of those measures that we could develop right alongside the other energy efficiency measures. But you always want to make sure that you're trimming the buildings before you size solar, right? You want to do that either before or you want to do it in conjunction with so that you're not overpaying for solar size systems, right, in the future. So that's a whole process, and then we stick with you all the way through post-project and into measurement and verification because all of our savings are guaranteed. So if our engineers or we miss anything that we guarantee as savings, we actually write you a check for the difference because we're owning that entire process and we're guaranteeing that those savings are real, okay? And then also we stick around with the operations and maintenance team, make sure everything is commissioned properly and working properly. And then also we'd love to stick around and be your partner for future project implementation as well. So we're not going to love you and leave you, is what I like to say. Okay. So any questions there with sort of the process?
See, I was interested in finding out, can you estimate what our savings would be for swapping out bulbs in advance?
Yes.
I assume that you can kind of math that so that we can right side of that
So-
solar system.
Absolutely. So in our preliminary energy analysis, we did that on a very high level, but the next step would be an investment grade audit. And our energy engineers would be doing all of that math and putting together an actual sort of menu list of ECMs, we call them, energy conservation measures, that would have essentially a cost to doing it and what that savings would be. And so that's how we formulate a project that would be self-funded. So you'd absolutely have all of that data throughout the process, moving things forward. Yeah, good question. Any other questions?
My questions are more along the lines of, how do we pay for all of this?
Yeah.
You know, and how you guys line that out and work with your clients to get that taken care of so that, you know, it is a zero
Self-funding.
budget. Yeah, exactly. So obviously we're in that position. And the reason why I'm excited to be looking at this is that dollar savings that can go back to general fund.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, so I can answer that now. Essentially, it kind of goes with this slide, right? You only have, think of the jar as like your budget, right? And that's kind of your utility budget that we like to leverage. Going through this process means we have to do things in the right order. So the pebble, stone, sand analogy is always something I like to use, where if you don't do things in the right order, things aren't going to fit within the budget, right? And so essentially what we're doing is we're taking all of the measures that we can find that are going to be water saving or electricity saving or natural gas saving, and we are putting together a package that, with that savings, will essentially pay for the project through, typically it's a debt service. It's a financed option with supplemental funding like grants, rebates. There could be, you know, there could be a little bit of help needed from like maybe bond contingency money, something like that, depending on what it needs to be self-funding. But typically we try to get to a fully self-funding project. And so essentially you're taking out a loan to pay for the project up front. And then, like I said, that delta between what you were budgeted for your utility year over year and what you're now paying goes to pay for that debt service. We're generally very conservative in our savings, so a lot of times you have a little bit extra savings that you don't need to pay back for that debt. That can go back in that general fund. And then once the term of the loan is over, that's all savings that you have to pay, to use.
What's the average length of this loan?
It all is
You don't-
very dependent on what you're doing. So I would say I've seen loans anywhere from 10 years to 20 years, depending on the size of project. And to be honest with you, how kind of maybe upside down you are in mechanical needs, because your boilers, your HVAC systems are the ones that are really costly but don't have a lot of savings. You're needing those low payback items like lighting and water to help pay for that in a packaged deal.
And when you did the presentation with the smaller crew, you had brought up the HVAC thing quite a bit, right? The automated of the systems and,
Yes.
you know, the redundancy and the excess use when the building is empty, that sort of thing. Can you speak to that a little bit and how that rolls into the project?
Yeah, absolutely. So not only are we looking at parts and pieces and equipment to optimize or upgrade, but we're also looking at all of the control systems and the integrations that can happen so that building automation systems are working seamlessly together instead of having to be manually controlled. Unfortunately, the maintenance team currently doesn't have a lot of visibility into some of the older buildings. The new Carlson Elementary got all the new nice bells and whistles, and so that's a really great example of where we would like you to get to with all of your buildings, so that there is some power in efficiencies with just building automation systems and integrating, making sure we're using technology instead of just manually having to control things, right?
And so that does actually equate to savings.
Absolutely, that's
Right,
part of
just
an
not a
energy
mechanical,
savings measure, yeah, that we
Okay.
would also analyze for you and work into the project. Yep.
Does Verigy provide the debt service or do we need to go find the loan to do the thing or are you providing us with a press go and here's your slate?
Yeah, so we are turnkey in that we are providing you the entire project from cradle to grave, except for financing. We do not care, we don't benefit from financing, right? And so what we do provide you is we provide you with a list for all of the lenders that have an appetite for these types of loan services. And we provide you with all the information that you're gonna need, even sometimes the RFP actually written out for you so that you can go out there, find the best product for you. And we stay out of that, but we're very much involved in helping walk through the process. But yes, absolutely, that's a great question.
And then the grants, if you could speak to that, as I understand that you guys kind of corral that and do the applications, all the fun things.
Absolutely. Our goal is to try to get this project as cost efficient as possible. And a great way that we can do that is through grants, rebates, and incentives, both federally and locally. And so we do have a full grant writing team on staff. We do all of the grant writing for you, just ask a little bit of help on story, creation and the need. And then we absolutely, apply for those grants. Also, post-project is when you're getting in all of those rebates. So we do all the rebate applications for you. We also follow through and make sure that those rebates are realized. And a lot of those rebates are coming from your utility. Some of them are state, and then some of them, depending on your solutions, are going to be federal.
Have you found any schools that have been able to fund this solely by grants?
I have not, no. And the reason being is there's not a lot of grants out there that align with what they're willing to fund, being mostly there's an appetite for renewable energy, things that are going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and be kind of, for lack of better words, very attractive for their portfolio. A lot of HVAC equipment, things of that nature, that's a lot of BEST grant funding is available, but there's not a ton of just like the, workhorses that a lot of schools need in their deferred maintenance. So I have not seen that, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So if we're finished with those questions, there is a cost to the investment grade audit. The cost of the audit is very much a matrix system that is provided by the Colorado Energy Office. And so you are a distance under 75 miles from the Colorado Energy Office, and we would be auditing under 250,000 square feet. So your price becomes 25 cents per square foot. So that equates to roughly that $40,000 cost to the IGA. I have talked to our engineers in New Carlson and Georgetown Community School. While we would absolutely include it in the entire planning, energy sort of planning that we would do, it's so new, and the Georgetown Community School has all new boilers. In fact, they have those new lock-and-bar boilers, which are ones that we recommend. They have new lights, they have new windows. We walked that building. There's not a ton there, right? But we would absolutely include it in the overall sort of future-proofing and planning for the district. But it just doesn't have a lot of need right now that we can see. So we would still include that, but leave it off of the cost of it. Now, something that's interesting is this is not a cost that you have to pay upfront. You do need to be aware that it has to be encumbered by the district. but this is very much a project cost that actually moves to the project when implemented and becomes pre-construction and engineering services, which any project needs, okay? And the savings has to cover that as well. So even though there's a price tag to this, think of it as, well, this is just gonna be moved to the project and this project is gonna be self-funded, right? So that's how you need to think of that. Also, what I wanted to say with the IGA cost is that there's no time limit, okay? So my goal is absolutely to help you implement something that's going to help the district. It's not to provide you a report that sits on a shelf and gets dusty and you pay $40,000 for nothing, right? For something that may never get revisited. So that's really not what the intent of an investment grade audit is. I just want to be transparent there. You know, that it's very much with the intent that there would be a project down the road, and Verigy is there to walk alongside you, however long that might take.
So just to clarify for me, this would be, if we were to say yes, go, we're saying, yes, we will provide debt service for $40,000, and we may plug that year over year over year until we reach savings? Or are you saying we could do $5,000 here, $8,000 over here, slowly over time, project by project? I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, sure. So the $40,000 is just the cost to do all of the engineering and development of a project. It is rolled into the larger project, which is always going to be developed to be self-funded. That is part, it would definitely could be part of that debt service. But again, we don't care how you fund a project. It doesn't have to be a loan. I mean, if you had, bond dollars or you had capital improvement budget, you could definitely utilize that. We don't benefit from the financing, so it doesn't really matter to us. It's just that usually these projects are large enough infrastructure-wise and need-wise that they need, a larger upfront infusion of.
So this one is one large upfront infusion to conduct that full deal.
That's the cost of the investment grade audit that's moved to the project. So you don't have to pay that upfront. You just have to essentially encumber the funds so that if you decided not to do a project down the road, we would be made whole for all of the engineering and design that has occurred for a project.
Now, the 40,000 that, and just for clarification, is just for this building in King Murphy?
It is so we would include absolutely all of them, like I said, but our engineers said there's no reason to charge square footage wise for New Carlson and for Georgetown, just because we've already walked them and everything's so new. Yes, there's some things that we would recommend and absolutely include in sort of an energy master plan situation. But New Carlson doesn't have enough data yet to really support knowing, what is a good plan for right now. Also, that building is still going to be commissioned a little bit. It has tweaks. They've got to learn it. There's going to be some things that need to happen over the next year or two to learn that building. But it is for your entire district, including your wastewater treatment plant. We would be looking at optimizing your pumps there, looking at, what's your wire to water efficiencies there. And you're spending $25,000 a year on just your wastewater treatment plant, right? So we'd be looking at that. We'd be looking at your fire pump station. We'd be looking at King Murphy, obviously this location, New Carlson and Georgetown. So it would include all of that. And it is very much, also kind of a living document in the sense of it would be a master plan to catapult you into the future. It's not just, very rarely can we do everything that's needed in one project, right? It would be sort of a phased approach if needed.
So is there could it be done that we're just doing the high energy use buildings, just this building in King Murphy? Can we just do the audit on those two buildings?
Absolutely. The square footage, I think, is already reflecting that and
Is that what
maybe it
that's
taking out taking out the water treatment plant or the wastewater treatment plant and the fire pump house, but that wouldn't really do a
Okay.
lot there
Gotcha.
square footage wise.
So when you talked about grants and I guess mostly grants, that would be tied, you said mostly to like solar or geothermal, that's where we would get the best kind of return.
As of right now, that's what a lot of grant funders are looking at. But I will say things are changing, landscapes are changing constantly. And so we basically look at it as need, and we have large grant databases that we plug in all of the need into and kind of see, who has the appetite for what type of
So do
funding.
you sense that some of those are about to expire?
So with the new administration, there is some kind of unknowns on what might be available federally, at the federal level for some of the renewable energy incentives that were previously instated with the previous administration. So we are very much, advising clients that if there is any sort of want or desire to look at geothermal, solar, batteries, microgrids, battery storage, that now is the time because there's still availability to safe harbor the tax incentives that a school district is now able to monetize. And so if you wanted to move on those to essentially safe harbor those incentives, you're getting anywhere from about 30 to 50% back on the cost of the project with what's being available right now.
Which is a substantial kick to the ROI.
It is. And remember that those are rebates, so you have to have the cash flow to actually fund the project like a debt service. But a lot of times your loan is not requiring you to have any sort of prepayment penalties. So a lot of people are using that rebate back to either pay down the loan and pay it off quicker, or some people are saying, well, let's take that back into the general fund because our debt service is, the utility budget is managing to pay that, so.
So what's next steps if we were to move forward?
Yeah, so if we can jump down to, I think we can kind of skip some of these slides because I think some of those were in a previous slide deck. This is all savings potential, which we kind of talked about just within dialogue. Those are grants. Okay, so let's go down to the very end slide. Oops, there you go. Thank you. So partnership and next steps, obviously it would be to seek board approval to move forward with an investment grade audit. That would provide that detailed analysis of upgrades, costs, projected savings, and would provide that framework for a guaranteed savings project. The next step, if the board decided to move forward, would be to engage with the Colorado Energy Office. The Colorado Energy Office, like I said, has this program that is free to districts, so you might as well use it. They act as a third-party verifier and then also just help you walk through what this type of program would look like. And they're a neutral party, right? Also, you are allowed to use the Colorado Energy Office as more like a cooperative purchasing agency. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So procurement wise, if you like Verigy, if you like me, you trust me, if the team trusts me, you're more than welcome to directly select Verigy because we're already pre-qualified and hold that contract with the state. If you'd like to send it out to RFQ, request for qualifications to other companies like myself within the program, you're welcome to do that and they would walk you through that as well. Or yeah, those are basically your couple different options. Yeah. But this model has been used time and time again across the state. We can provide you with plenty of references. The Colorado Colorado Energy Office is also a great resource for this. But it's definitely a way to help tackle, the deferred maintenance and all of the aging infrastructure that you do have. I know that we already have some, systems that have failed at King Murphy. Those boilers, HVAC, mechanical units are expensive to replace. And so this is definitely a way that you can tackle a lot of what's needed and avoid any of those emergency costs that you might incur if systems were to go down. And of course, if school is not safe and warm and the lights don't turn on, then that's a pretty hard environment for these wonderful teachers to teach in and those students to learn, right?
So this kind of feels like something that maybe, we don't have a superintendent, and then a very new one coming in, that maybe this is something Kelly and I can chew on to reach out to the Colorado Energy Office. And as I mentioned, we're kind of the building.
Yes,
Ladies,
yeah,
so,
you have your own, that's so cool.
So I think that might be good for the board, for us to eke out all of those nitty gritties and not belabor
I
our
think
new
that's a really good idea.
superintendent on that.
I think that's a really good idea.
If
And
you're-
I hate
to voluntold you every time.
Yes, and I'd be happy to directly connect you with those people at the Colorado Energy Office so you can, get started right away.
I'd be happy to endeavor to do that.
Questions?
Say, while we're just talking, could you, like, high level, we're spending like $10,000 or $15,000 a month on this building alone. So like 40,000 seems really huge. But at the same time, times 12 times 20, that, I don't know, I appreciate you two kind of digging in so that you can take a look at those numbers and what they really truly are. And then
Right.
what the potential savings is, because 40,000 plus asking for money from somewhere it's an ask, yeah.
Right. So we need to make sure it makes sense for us.
Thank you so much for helping us kind of dig in and understand better.
Absolutely, and if there's any more questions that do come up, Erin is in constant contact with me and so
Okay,
Chris
great.
is able to meet you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. My apologies, I made your life hard tonight.
Working.
Say, the legislature has finished.
For now.
We talked about some updates at the study session. Do you want to share any today? You guys can look back at our deep conversation from last week. Unless, do you have anything else? Okay. In which case, I would love to move on to engagement opportunities for the community, since we've got folks here, and we recognize that the only way to move forward is together. We've got several opportunities. I'll get to you. I'll let you speak for yourself. But we're always looking for folks to volunteer for our building and school level accountability committees. That's where we are making kind of the building level decisions. How do we look at the budget? How do we save dollars? What educators, need more, or, are there places we can cut? And we know that's hard. But that work is best at the school and building level. Then we've got the district accountability committee, and we'd love to have a representation from each of those schools at the district level. And then you're looking at that, again, higher level of district level decisions. Then I don't have my committees in front of me.
A couple of ones are, just a couple of ones are in the
Thank you.
long-term facilities
Oh,
planning
yes.
committee.
Ladies.
Yeah.
So another way, our buildings are a huge expense. We've been deferring maintenance. We are doing our very best. The bond helped a lot, but that there's still so much that needs to be done to ensure that the buildings remain warm, safe, dry. this building, King Murphy, are obviously, again, those biggest pain points. So we are looking for individuals who have experience, our contractors. We've got amazing people in our community, so we're asking for folks to reach out, either to Kelly or Carrie Ann or to Lori if you've got questions. You can always reach out to me, and I will make sure you get to the right people. Then we got the deck, we got the SAC, we got, yeah.
I guess my question is, put this on her just as a point of contact for these different committees.
Correct.
So we just talked about Kelly and Carrie Ann.
Yes, our building leads,
Planning.
they're,
That way, then also contact Lori.
Right.
Is there a contact you want to have for the district accountability committee? You know, is that?
I say right now it's Hunter. I think they're in the process.
Or Marcy.
Well, and then on our board, it's, yeah.
I was just saying,
Hunter
more
is
contact
on
for
his
Lori.
way out.
Well, that was it. I was like, they're gonna be discussing that, at the board level. It is Marcy King, and then
As far as school building accountability, that's more
that's our
principals,
principals.
I would think, and
Yes.
we'll get to enrollment task force in the next item, I think, here that way, and then
I-
that one there you can.
I have already spoken about the superintendent selection opportunities. Again, June 5th from 5 to 7 at Carlson. So that puts us, do we have any public comment?
Yes, we have two who have signed up.
Okay.
First is Jill Kogel.
Excellent.
Okay. You can actually have a timer.
Welcome, Jill.
Hi.
You get 3 minutes.
Okay.
So,
I just want to start first by saying that I have been really bothered by the discussion from our last board meeting about the accusations that you guys have been facing. And I just want to recognize that I do appreciate that you guys have a hard job, and I do think you're invested in this community. Just because opinions differ doesn't mean that somebody's less invested than the other person. So I just do want to recognize the time that you've put on this board, and it is appreciated by people. Sitting here listening to this presentation that we just had, I guess I'm a little struck by how as a board that you are willing to invest in something like this, in an energy audit, make an investment into something for a long-term savings or a long-term return, but it doesn't seem like you're willing to make that same kind of investment into the teachers and the staff and the front line of the school. You were looking at making cuts, you were looking at cutting positions, not giving raises, not giving steps, but this should be treated the same. You should be looking at us as a long-term investment. The staff and the teachers are the front lines of the school. I recognize the financial situation the district is facing, but ask once again that you please consider investing in the district rather than cutting teachers' positions or not increasing their salaries. You could start by giving steps to teachers. Removing steps is not just losing a raise, it's affecting the long-term retirement of each and every employee through para. It seems to me there's no better time to dip into reserves to try to make at least those steps, which would be around a 2.3 or 2.5% to cover that cost of living. Para isn't like a 401k where you can try to find some money to add to it in the following years to make up for what you lost. You say that your number one priority is to grow enrollment. Cutting positions, increasing class sizes to larger than Jeffco is not a way to do this. My research at King Murphy came up with 25 students at King Murphy of the 133 K through 6 students are out of area. This is 18% of our school, and we are in a very unique position to increase that enrollment based on our location. But one of the biggest things that brings people is small class sizes, and now that large draw is being removed. Invest in our preschool. A class of 19 or 20 preschoolers is not going to get the same draw or feel that Arlene and Pippi have worked so hard to create. We are talked about. Give them the resources and the class sizes to continue to grow. I can't imagine there's a better place to grow enrollment than the youngest ones in our school. Get them invested now in our community and friends to keep them in our district. And please use the funds that for us to invest this year. Deficit,
thank you.
use it.
Thank you, Jill.
Jill's.
Yes.
Put my back to you. I picked this spot. I'm Jill Stansberry, 20-year teacher in the district, parent of a 3rd and a 7th grader. And I'm addressing the board again to ask you to reconsider your stance on staff raises for next school year. I left bargaining on Friday, literally in tears, as I feel torn between my educator responsibilities to my students and my parental responsibilities to my own children. I'm not sure if their fate can satisfy both at this point. I find that the actions and words of the board do not match. You continue to raise student enrollment as a high priority, devoting dollars to marketing efforts. Yet I cannot think of a faster way to push families out of the district than to foster instability in the classroom. Eliminating the annual step and offering paltry raises will do just that. More educators will leave. The winter survey repeatedly shows parent priorities aligned with strong relationships and teacher retention. You can't continue to ignore this. Balancing your budget by minimizing raises is the wrong approach. I again urge you to reconsider before students are severely impacted, including my own. Thank you.
Tom Harvey.
Wait a second. Is that all of, can I respond? For those of you I don't know, I'm Kelly Flanagan. I'm the treasurer of the board. I'm on the negotiating team for the district. I have 2 kids, one in 7th grade with Ms. Stansbury's son, and one in 5th grade. I also left bargaining in tears. It's a really hard position to be in. My family is educators. My husband's family is educators in this district. And I feel a great deal of affinity toward and connection to the district. But we are at odds here right now, and it is an uncomfortable position. But the idea that the district and that the board has not compromised is untrue. And I think it's important that we recognize that that is not true. And we can say it out loud in this meeting to a round of applause, but that is not what the facts say. The facts do say that we were in a position where we did not want to add additional ongoing dollars to our deficit, because that's a bad thing for deficits. When you grow deficits, deficits grow. They grow year over year over year. And so we went into bargaining saying we cannot add any ongoing dollars to this conversation. That is not where we left the discussion. That is not where we left bargaining. There were a few things that were said that were really, really problematic that I think our community should know about. We have educators who are willing to say to me, a parent of an elementary school kid, I don't care if the district is sustainable and viable by the time your daughter is in 8th grade. We would prefer a raise today and a bankrupt school district in 3 years. And that's a really difficult pill to swallow when our job here is to ensure long-term financial sustainability and viability. You'll notice we did not vote to encumber a $40,000 one-time cost in this meeting today. We don't know if we are going to. And so I think that it's really important that we recognize the difficult balancing act that we have. We recognize that the district has moved. Is it as far as everyone would like? No, it isn't. But does it set our district up to be more financially sustainable in the long term? Yes, it does. And we can agree to disagree about that, but I will feel very comfortable knowing that the decisions this board is making, well, maybe are uncomfortable for you, certainly are uncomfortable for us, and provide our district with something better in the long term, which is a district. The way that we talk about our community and the way that we talk about our schools is important. And so when we talk about our frustration, it's also important that we recognize these difficult challenges, because you're right, We need to invest in our district. We need to invest in our buildings. We need to save money where we can save money. We need to do all of these things collaboratively and together. And when we look around the corner as the Board of Education, we see additional challenges coming, whether we see state funds being clawed back, federal funds being clawed back, grants being clawed back, and it is our responsibility to look well into the future. And I would love a little bit of appreciation in that regard. And I would also really, really love for there to be the reality that fixing the deficit as much as we can right now and preventing a fiscal cliff is absolutely in the best interest of this district. And so I think it's just important that everybody kind of hears that and recognizes that negotiations are difficult for all the parties and that we as a board did move. Maybe we did not move as far, you also moved. And I'm impressed with how that went and how that worked. And I just think it's important that everybody understands both sides of that situation and the challenging position that we are in, and why we are really excited to be moving quickly and nimbly to look at how we increase enrollment in our community. And I just think it's important that people understand that bigger picture. And I know you think it's very funny, Kent, and I'm happy to talk with you a little bit more in detail if you'd like one-on-one, because I can hear you and I can see you, and I'm happy to engage more personally if that's helpful.
do a public comment.
No, you missed the time to sign up, but we welcome it next
Okay.
time.
The
city allows public comment.
I'm sorry, we're in this is a business meeting. We have invited you as our guests. So we have time for public comment. Please join us next month, and we would love to hear from you again.
Thank you.
Say, are there any other comments? Tom Harvey.
Okay. A lot of interesting discussions here, but I better just stay in my lane on enrollment. I really want to kick it over to you guys. I only have two things tonight. One is the resolution to sanction the Enrollment Task Force Committee. And for you guys, Jessica, however you want to handle it, the announcement district-wide, and we want to have our first meeting a week from tomorrow. Monday is Memorial Day, got caught on that one. But on Tuesday, 5:30. And so I want to get the logistics and the AV and all of that if we decide to have the crossing. So really, I'm kicking it back to you guys and say, I don't know how you handle the resolution and who needs to see Jessica and I worked on an announcement that will go district-wide to everybody, like the one that goes to everybody. My thoughts at this point, because if you were here last month, you saw we have a core team and we'll have 3 focus teams: data, engagement, and marketing. But what I'm hoping is, I have no idea how many people will show up at the meeting a week from tomorrow, the kickoff meeting. I don't know if it'll be 10 or 50 or 100, but I would like to play that a little bit by ear. I have most of the core team in mind and contacted, but see who is interested in doing what, and set up organize the focus teams at that point, is what I would like to do. So that's all I've got, you know. Well, if it stands as is, here's the deal. Because of being in the middle, we thought Carlson at 5:30 next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. And but the announcement for that will go out hopefully tomorrow. There's a lot of announcements going out. We got looking for a superintendent. So lots going on. I would like to get this thing going ASAP, and we're ready to pull the trigger, pardon the pun, but we're ready to go. And so that's what we need. We need the resolution. We'd like to get your blessings on what we've talked about last month and what you see in the announcement. The announcement's pretty innocuous. It's pretty upbeat, I think, and encouraging about what we want to do. And it just gives everybody an idea of what the task force is all about.
If I can
So
just.
how do you want to proceed?
If I can just say with the resolution, I put it in your packet there, it's a little different than it was last week, not significant changes. Tom and I met the following day or the day after, we met someday last week again, I don't know what day it was. Kind of went through it again, I took some comments, I think you made, Kelly, put them in there, diverse group, I don't know what it says exactly anymore. But just looking to get a committee, not necessarily, I think what we were talking, not necessarily approving the members, but having a committee, I believe, and then making sure then that we have agendas posted, minutes, and things like that for 5 years down the road, what happened in May of 2025, something like that, so.
I have a question for the Toms. I don't know which one of you is better for this question. But I do wonder, just given graduation and Memorial Day and traveling and influx with the superintendent, if it makes sense to postpone until the first week in June so that graduation travel, Memorial Day travel is complete, and then you might have more response. I'm not sure. I offer that for your thoughts and
Yeah,
opinion.
either one of us can take it. Here's what I was thinking. Number one, obviously I want to get, I'm chomping at the bit to go.
When Tom says he's chomping at the bit, Tom has more energy on this thing, seriously.
And so I guess my question then would be, because I'm all about let you go. Could people who maybe miss the opportunity because they're traveling, because of graduation or the holiday, can they still plug in if they miss your meeting on the 27th?
What I'm envisioning is this. Let's say we have 25 people that are engaged. I think, like you guys do, we have a hybrid. Because I'm gonna be traveling on vacation and business, but that doesn't mean we can't, I wanna have a hybrid meeting.
Okay.
For sure. So the short answer is yes, indeed.
Okay.
Anybody can plug in, and everybody is welcome. My theory on this, like in most things, is I never say no to anyone that wants to help. Never, ever. Because there's always something to do, like in coaching. Any parent that says, I'm willing to help, well, you can fix the water, or you can help with the equipment, or whatever, So Kelly, the other part of that is this. There's so much going on that you guys see that I don't see. But I know that the interviews are the week after that. When is graduation? This Saturday? This Friday. So that'll be,
Friday,
that'll
and
be
then
Friday.
be gone Monday, and then.
and then Memorial Day. So it's a worthwhile thought if we could move it to, I would like to do it next week if we possibly could. If we
I
possibly
think
could.
we're saying do it when you want to, but we would also like the consideration that people that can't meet up at the first one
Yes.
Still be
can
invited.
still be invited.
Yeah, and again, I think, I don't want to irritate anyone, but in the beginning, so that we can get with a really vigorous start, we may need to meet almost once a week for the first little bit, or at least every other week for the first little bit to get going, so we can get ourselves going and get ourselves organized. The reasoning behind that is that we can make an impact this summer on enrollment for the fall. We're already a little bit behind the 8 ball there, but if we can make an impact now, and I saw Scott Baines was in here earlier, and what we've talked about, we have already some action items. You guys that didn't see the presentation, I'm gonna show the presentation at the next meeting. Again, show where you can hear everything, anything you want to hear about enrollment, you can hear it. But what I gave was the statistics that we've all compiled, and it's very factual. It's not a horror story. 10 years, for the first 10 years ago, the first 5 years, 10 years ago, we were losing at a 35 student per year rate. Now we're at about a 10 to 15 to 12 to 15 rate. The slope is flattened a little bit, but we got to turn it the other way, and we can. 128 school-aged children that live in this county leave this county and go to Jefferson County. 128. Do the math. There's your deficit. I mean, I hate to put it that way because it's not that simple. But we have a great opportunity, and so what I was getting at was with King Murphy, we call that the Eastern Front. That's the Eastern Front, is that we could get Scott, like we had Duster Days yesterday, And hopefully that engendered some people to us, but we would like to get King Murphy specifically to make one final thing, say, look, you're in our district, we want you to stay in our district, and make the strongest case possible. Every student and every family that we can keep from leaving us because they have it in their mind that they're going to Evergreen, they're going to Jefferson County. We want to change that, plain and simple, friendly competition. So we get the resolution. Well, let's think just a little bit on the date, but and then the short answer is absolutely 100% people. It's not a one-time thing. It'll be a very frequent thing and no one will be left for sure.
Do you see it as being important that you have a district board member as part of your team?
Yes, Tom and I have talked about that. Again, I don't want to go overboard here, but he has helped me tremendously getting a lot of this stuff done. As it stands now, the general feeling is that you guys can appoint whoever you want. The short answer to that is yes. I think we think yes, but it's not, it's almost there more as a parent than it is a formal meeting, but it's not there as, some formal position. Is more there as a parent. Marcy has volunteered. That's up to you guys. You volunteered?
We had already.
Or voluntold, maybe like me.
That's how this works.
That's how it works. But, so yes, I think it would be wise to be plugged in, to have a liaison with the BOE, because we want to be 100%, everybody know exactly what we're doing. Because, there's some privacy things with families that choose to do this, that, or whatever. And so we don't want to stub our toe doing something wrong. But so the answer to that is, we'll take any one of the five of you. But Marcy's kind of raised her hand since she would have some.
Chewing her nail, Tom.
So in our folder this evening, we have both a draft copy of the resolution, which we can approve tonight, or we can allow, or the second piece being the letter of invitation that would go out. I am fine with doing both, approving both of those tonight. But if you feel more comfortable giving Tom permission to go ahead and get started.
I don't see any reason not to review or to consider the resolution. We've had it in our mailboxes, we've provided feedback. I am very, very, very surprised that Erica did not say something about A, name, having the word enrollment misspelled.
Yeah.
That was Erica's job.
I fixed it. Bam.
Other than that, I think it's really great, and in the same breath, yes, Marcy, thank you. So
I would look for a motion if you're ready.
I think I was just doing that.
Well, I think we have to read the whole thing. All right.
Yeah, you do your thing.
So this would be the Clear Creek Board of Education Resolution number 2025-005. Whereas the Board of Education of the Clear Creek School District RE1 wishes to hereby establish an independent enrollment task force committee under the following guidelines. A, name. The name of this committee shall be the Enrollment Task Force Committee, ETFC. Get a cool acronym. B, purpose. The purpose of the ETFC shall be to become familiar with the enrollment process and overall enrollment in the Clear Creek School District, and become familiar with the enrollment status of the Clear Creek schools, barriers to enrollment for students and families, reasons students and families enroll, positive attributes of the district, and related items connected to enrollment. The responsibilities of the ETFC shall be to investigate enrollment in the Clear Creek School District by families both within and outside the district boundaries, along with the retention rates of students who are enrolled in the district, thereby identifying information that is leading to an impact on enrollment, and to meet regularly with the district administration and board members to review their work on enrollment. C, membership. The ETFC shall be comprised of 5 to 8 core team representatives of the Clear Creek School District. These core members shall represent the broad geographical area of the district to establish a diverse committee. It is expected that the members will present a broad background of families in the district, including families representing all campuses and age groups, and residents and non-residents of Clear Creek County. The EFTC will also have various other voluntary members involved with the committee and its work will serve on an ad hoc basis under direction of the core team. D, meetings. The ETFC will meet regularly and agendas for meetings will be developed and posted along with minutes for each meeting. Adopted and approved by roll call vote via the board's policy, bylaws, and statutory obligations this 19th day of May, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second, I thought okay, second.
Yes.
King?
Yes.
McHugh? Yes.
Yes.
I do really appreciate that. I think it helps where everybody's, we discussed last time how to structure. It's got structure, it's got minutes, it's got posting of meetings, et cetera, but we're not bound by restrictive, anything that restricts us from going. So I appreciate the resolution. Truly, equally important is getting out this announcement.
Yes.
And so I don't know how you guys want to proceed.
I mean, that doesn't need to be voted on.
It does not. If everybody's okay, we'll move forward with Tuesday, the
Yeah.
27th, and you will continue to invite others to the table.
Well, that letter is going to go far and wide, Lori. And so I just need someone like Lorraine or whomever to help Carlson. Because if we have 10 people, we'll meet in the conference room. If we have 50 people, we'll probably meet in the gymnasium or somewhere where, and as long as I've got a screen, some projection board to show the thing. And then we'll start sorting out our focus teams.
Fantastic.
This was on Aaron tomorrow. Aaron's right here.
Yeah.
We'll talk to him tomorrow and
Thank you.
Lorraine as well. I was gonna put something in the nugget about it as well. Who do you want to be for the contact for that? If they're in, because I haven't, again, started like, if you're interested, contact,
Tom.
Yeah, it can be me. I will
that's your email? Should I say your email or?
email or phone. I know it's gonna be a lot, but that's,
Thank you,
it's
Tom.
worth it.
Good. All right, I'll do that.
I think it's important to have one point person.
One point.
And thank you, Tom, this Tom,
Tom,
for
go ahead.
helping the Tom. Appreciate that. I know there was a lot involved.
The election participation requirements, we need to appoint a designated election official and adopt a resolution to coordinate with the county clerk. And I think Ms. Lori over here has been voluntold to take that lift for us,
And then
and
she
thank
gave
you.
me a resolution.
They're learning.
So with that, because we have appointed a designated election official, we do need to provide official notice of intent for the Clear Creek School District to participate in the coordinated election. So I would so move that we adopt Resolution 2025-006, which is the official notice of intent for the Clear Creek School District to participate in the coordinated election on November 4th, 2025. The Board of Education of the Clear Creek School District in the County of Clear Creek, State of Colorado shall conduct its regular biennial school election on November 4th, 2025, as provided by state law, and participate in the election coordinated by the County Clerk and Recorder of Clear Creek County. The Clear Creek School District shall contract with the County Clerk and Recorder of Clear Creek County for the administration of the regular biennial school election and enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Clear Creek County for this purpose. The County Clerk and Recorder shall serve as the coordinated election official for the November 4th, 2025 coordinated election. The Board of Education designates Lori Heaney to serve as the school designated election official for the 2025 regular biennial school election. The school designated election official shall perform election duties on behalf of the Board of Education, including but not limited to accepting and verifying candidate packets, as well as rendering all interpretations and making all initial decisions as to controversies or other matters arising in the conduct of the regular biennial school election, to the extent that each of these responsibilities is consistent with the intergovernmental agreement. A call for nominations for school directors to be elected at the regular biennial school election shall be published by the Clear Creek School District between August 6th, 2025 and August 21st, 2025. The Board of Education directs the school designated election official to forward this notice of intent to participate in the November 4th, 2025 to the coordinated election official by July 25th, 2025, the deadline established in state law. Approved this 19th day of May, 2025 by a vote to be filled in after we vote.
Second.
Flanagan,
Yes,
Kane?
Yes.
McHugh? Yes. North?
Yes.
by a vote of 4-0.
If we had all voted no, does that mean there isn't an election?
I'm not sure how that works there.
Where there's a bill, there's a way.
Some kind of- Thought of that.
Now we move on to budget work.
What questions does anyone have? I know we reviewed this at study session to a certain point as well, but some other people here, Aaron, Brooke, and Jen are here too, if you have questions as well.
Are any of these sheets reflective of our latest offer to the union?
They are not reflected in that, no, they are not.
I would be curious to see what that looks like, if you guys can shoot that to us in an email.
I can share just briefly that,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So it does reflect the classified schedule.
which we're not using.
Correct.
So that is
And I did know what the
out.
delta was, but
So
Kelly,
it
could
is
you
an
add?
increase in ongoing, it increases our budget deficit to 174,172. And an increase over the salary schedule of nearly 25,000, 24,675.
It's not right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other changes like that we should see before that you've caught or
We,
glimpsed?
yeah, we've talked about the whole aspect of what Kelly just talked about. Those are the big things on there right now. We'll reflect that in the next round later this week. Next week, I'll get that to you. It's not gonna have a huge impact on this. I mean, when you look at, there's a small impact, yes, but not a dramatic one. We did talk about that $65,000 that was asked about at last meeting we had. And I remember this after the fact. It was when Leah was here, we had talked about a maintenance vehicle. Cost of maintenance vehicle is around $50,000. Then a plow on it would be 60, 65. I think she was 65, that was probably about 60. And that's just looking at that way. Now that can actually could technically be moved into maintenance or transportation instead of in the area where it was at. And then in some of the transportation, there would be a bus in there for 135 as well, or roughly 135 if we would look at that way. But those are two things that, I know we talked about somewhat. I think I sent some information to all of you on that as well. So that's just something.
So
to
we've
think
done
about.
the calculation on the bus and we are due a bus this year?
That depends on the conversation we had. The thing is, in 2019, we bought, and Brooke can hop in or Aaron, whatever. In 2019 with the mill, we bought 3 buses.
Right.
All at once. The problem is when you buy 3 buses all at once, then eventually they all need to be replaced all at once. Now, there are different mileage on those buses as well. And I have that, and I literally left it on my desk. I thought about it on the way over here. I was talking to Brooke and it's sitting there. So, there is, the one concern is that if you get short on buses, and we have 1 bus right now that needs a fuel pump for, or it needs some other work for right around $5,000.
Right.
Right around $5,000, $8,000. So that bus we're probably not going to fix right now at that point, just in general. The thing you run into, if you have 1 or 2 more buses break down, then what happens? That type of thing. Just see, we have an extra one, yes, we do. Just like a maintenance vehicle, what happens if one of those other ones breaks down, with moving snow predominantly? That's honestly the predominant thing. So getting back to your initial question, I kind of went around it, we came back to it. So in 19, we got 3, so 21, 23, 25, you could say we're due for one now, 19, 21, 23, and 25. And at the same time, and I've talked to both Aaron and Brooke saying, with finances the way they are, could we wait 1 more year? You can wait 1 more year, and they probably don't like me saying that, okay? But we can wait 1 more year. But the thing you run into then at the same time is that the longer you wait, price is probably going to go up, let's say 3%, nothing to do with tariffs, just, price just goes up. And say, hey, and some other repair costs that may have to happen with it as well. And that's not a conversation that has to be had tonight of what we do, but I want to give you some background on that. So go
So when
ahead.
you mentioned the 3 buses, we also, that's not all of the buses that we purchased.
No.
No, okay,
Can
so
I speak real quick?
I'm still asking a question.
Oh, no, I was.
So with those 3, we also bought 2 more outside of that. We
Yes.
bought 5 since that mill.
2018.
Yes, we bought
Yes,
5 since
Yes,
2018.
I believe so, I have it right here, actually, but yeah, I think you're right, yes.
So in my mind, that puts us right on track. Literally, maybe a little ahead.
So yeah, we bought 3 in 19, then you bought 1 in 20, bought in 21, 22, whatever that, it came early, and we
Right,
didn't pay for it till later, and then an older one from 2014, that way. And then we bought 2 vans, one of those vans we bought with ESSER funds for small vehicle transportation. And that
We
was it.
bought one in 23 as well.
Yes, we also bought one, yeah, so we bought 2, the one we
So
bought
just-
from ESSER, one we bought from ESSER funds in 2022, but we bought another one in 2023. Well,
Right.
they're small vehicles,
Yeah.
vans we're talking there, so.
So there was a bus
There
in
was a bus in
2023 as well.
23 as well.
Mhm.
There was a bus and a small vehicle.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
No, I was here.
No, there's like,
It came in, it came a little early, that's why my
Right.
number showing it came in, it was ordered, came in earlier, we didn't pay for it until 23.
Okay, those are all the questions. I have.
Thanks for your response to all of those questions also, Tom.
Yes.
I was like, you're out of your spot.
Yeah, I didn't come up with those responses myself, I got it from Jen.
I know, so I said double thanks.
With the maintenance vehicle, did we not just buy Justin one in 2023, less than 2 years ago? It was a new one, a brand new one
We bought one in
with
20,
a plow? A brand new one 2 years ago.
yeah, we have another one sitting there with 300,000 miles on it as well.
Does it require 2 snow plows to function?
Right now, we're.
I'm sorry.
We have multiple canvases, correct? So, and we have multiple folks who go out and plow at the same time. So, I guess one of the questions you, Rose, was, is there a way for us to look at it like an auction perhaps? To look at an option that maybe is only a year or 2 old instead of purchasing something that is brand new?
And Aaron and I have
That would still be better than the
Right.
300,000 mile vehicle.
Right,
So, I mean, we're just trying to be
we gotta look at
conscious of
things like that.
all of the expenses ahead of us and, anyhow.
So talking about that, I talked to Aaron about that in the past, and we spoke about it again today. It's been a long day, I think it was today. It's only Monday, so it has to be today. It has to be today, so we did talk about that way too, and trying to find the right vehicle that way too. These are not, jacked up, with all the
Right.
fancies on them either that way, but, yeah. That's something to think about. We can talk about.
I would feel more comfortable with that coming out of maintenance as opposed to capital. I think that's just my opinion, but that's where it's being used, that's the need. That should be that budget.
Okay.
It is used to maintain our facilities though.
That's true. Well, the parking lot.
Yes. Hey, we appreciate our parking lots being plowed so that we can park and
If they're not plowed, you're gonna hear about it.
Right, exactly.
so.
Aaron's gonna hear about it.
Hey,
Someone's gonna hear about it.
Just as an aside and not as part of the overall budget, but we still have that $500 a month at the OC dumpster. Can we please get that to go away? It seems ridiculous. Yeah,
Keep clear.
So I did, after it was brought up 3 or so board meetings ago, I did reach out to the company that's taking care of the trash there. They're refunding us because it was on the bill all year. And since I called them in, I believe it was August, to transfer that service from one school to the other school, which is what we did. We moved the 2 bins from the OC to New Carlson.
Okay,
But they were still charging us for those bins. I
Ah.
called them, they're refunding us that. I sent Jen an email, but I believe that should come off of the bill, either May or June is what they told me.
and then also get a refund for the bills.
Refunding it back to August.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a few thousand.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
So that has been, and if I forgot to tell you,
Yeah.
that has been taken,
That's
in
great.
the process of being taken care of. That
I'm
one
glad we
is-
scrutinized that. Cool.
So continue to look, if it doesn't come off, let me know, but I was
Okay.
told that it's supposed to be.
Thank you, Erin. That's great.
Any other questions, comments? All right.
We can take update one too sometime.
Thank you.
Right, move on to policy. Which is, we're looking at the Title IX policies. This is a second read. I don't think we've had any other community feedback, so this was, we kind of got a whole slate of policies that were in kind of wound backwards. So unless there's any
I would
comment or
move,
discussion.
I would move to approve the Title IX policies on second read.
Second,
Cunningham,
yes.
King,
Yes.
McCune,
Yes.
North.
Yes. So we also have policy AC-R-3, which is sexual harassment investigation procedures on second read.
Were there any other public comment on those?
We didn't have any there either.
I would move to approve policy ACR3 on second read.
Second,
Cunningham,
yes.
King,
Yes.
McCune,
Yes.
North.
Yes. Now we're on to our consent agenda, which includes minutes from April 8th, 2025 study session, the April 8th, 2025 special meeting with executive session, minutes from April 17th, 2025's business meeting with executive session, the minutes from April 21st, 2025 special meeting, and the staffing update.
We've had some meetings. I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Cunningham,
yes.
King.
Yes.
McCune,
Yes.
North.
Yes.
And I would say as far as public participation, getting feedback on those policies when we post those is another participation aspect that I think is very important.
I would agree. You know, and sometimes we're talking about emails, sometimes people get too many emails. I'm just being, I'm not being critical of
I get
anything
too
sent
many,
out, but
yeah.
just like, yeah.
But it
But it's important, I agree,
Yeah.
it's important to get that, I agree with that.
Say, I know we're going into our final meeting of the calendar year, or the school calendar year. Are there any other items that you guys would like to lift up as we do our agenda planning next week?
I mean, I think our obvious one is the superintendent update,
Yeah.
which seems very timely on that one.
Tom, I am assuming you have a running list of things.
Oh, yes, I do. You know, and I shared something with Jessica, then I have a separate list going to with more topics.
Okay.
And I've met with the directors and principals and things like that, and met with some other people, just so that list that I have is growing, and just things for them to be doing in the first, few months, just like, just an awareness of that, an awareness of the Enrollment Task Force Committee, just things like this, the OC, just things like that, and then some other just more philosophical things, maybe I should with Jessica, but I'll share that list that I have going right now in this front, so it's hopefully.
Well, and I think that your running list is ultimately more important to the baton person.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Right.
yeah, it is that way, but if you're thinking something that's not on there, and it may be on my other list, so then I have a folder in there too with, which I need to go through the folder that has just stuff in it that way, so, yeah, I agree.
Sounds great, thank you.
And I don't know, Jessica, depending on what kind of happens over in the United States Senate, but the Secure Rural Schools is in great jeopardy as of today. So maybe an update on where those funds stand might be good. By June, we might have a little bit more. So if just in the back of your mind, I think it might be a good time for an update.
Yeah.
So June is a study session and a business session on the
Oh,
same
on one
night.
day. Yes.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Is it?
With a smile on your face.
I meant it's exciting.
Great. Last year's June study session was a very thorough meeting, and then the business meeting was 30 minutes. So I believe in you.
We can do this.
Yes.
You might have to feed us.
Hey, that's, you can negotiate that.
Right.
I move to adjourn.
A second.
Honeycomb,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
North.
Yes.
Good to see you, Ethan.